22 years, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, Benny Binion's Horseshoe Casino has been called the heart and soul of downtown Las Vegas. Now it's headquarters for the greatest game in town, the World Series of Poker. The defending champ is a gabby guy named Amarillo Slim, who will walk a mile for a high-stakes action game. And since Binion's is where it's at, that's where Slim is heading to hang his Stetson and defend his title. Can he do it again? The odds are 8-1 against him, and I'm Jimmy the Greek.
Looks like this place is full of people. Come on over here, Doyle. Thank you, sir.
Jack Binion, Benny's son, is the tournament director. Jack's the last word, the plate umpire. You buy into the World Series for $10,000 apiece, and Binion holds the stakes.
Where's Hook?
With 13 players, that means $130,000 for the winner-take-all. Not to mention the pride and prestige of a heavyweight king in the gambling capital of the world.
50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. Where's Bob Hook? You know, Slim, let me tell you something, buddy. I'm playing this game a lot better than I played it last year. It suits me. And, you know, like I told you before, if it wasn't for Tennessee, there wouldn't be no Texas. So you're lucky to be here in the first place. If it wasn't for Tennessee, there wouldn't be any Texas. If you people in Tennessee could suck like you could blow, we would have to pass all over. Cut that out. We'd quit shipping all.
Argue is his major competition. What do you think about that? He says it's Doyle's bigger competition.
I think I'll give him a little tougher time this year.
Yeah.
Especially if it gets down to me and him.
It gets down to he and I.
If it gets down to me and him, I'm going to lay a price on me.
I'm taking it.
Well, he's got it, that's all I can tell you.
The 1973 championship round draws the largest field ever. Look at them. No different than the guy next door. But gambling for this lineup is no hobby. It's their profession. The champ tries his gamemanship on last year's runner-up, Puggy Pearson.
The black is the other table.
Yes, it is Blackbird. Ace of hearts. Sure.
You're the number one seed.
Here.
You're right here.
Wait a minute. Where's everybody else? All right, buddy.
Cards are drawn by each of the players to determine post position. The extra large field makes it necessary to split the action into two divisions, two tables. After 3 men get knocked out, they'll reassemble at a table of 10. The name of the game is Hold'em, something that sprung out of the South and Southwest. It's based on a 7-card high stud. Each player receives his first 2 cards down. The next 5 are dealt face up in the center of the table. The first 3 together and the 4th and 5th separately. Each player combines his hole cards with any 3 of the 5 center cards to make his strongest hand. The system of betting makes it virtually impossible to play the game tight. In the World Series, they all start out even, and they can't reach for a fresh supply of chips. When you lose your stake, you're out. It's almost 3 hours before a noteworthy encounter takes place. Jack Treetop Strauss makes the first bold move, a $3,600 raise.
Jack's betting and Slim sway. 3,600, Jack. Yeah. I'm always in there with the world champion. Every time you in there, I ain't got no hand.
Say you wild hogger.
Amarillo Slim calls what looks to him like a transparent bluff. Slim feels vindicated. The face cards show a pair of jacks, also a queen to match the one Slim holds face down. Strauss is caught in a cold bluff. He has nothing.
Throw it over here. Good call. That's a pretty good call. All right. Huh?
You know, Jack, it's hard to fool with a world champion. That sucker won't lay down nothing.
Hard to fool with the world champion, man.
Meanwhile, the action at the other table centers around Bobby Huff, the self-styled wizard. He likes his chances on a 4 in the hole to match the 2 face-up. So the wizard triggers one of those high noon one-on-ones with Puggy Pearson.
Call it 13, raise back.
What are you raising?
26.
Puggy, on 5 cards already, has a full house. The odds weigh heavily against the wizard, but Puggy's not ready for the kill.
Re-raise.
The World Series jitters seems to be afflicting Bobby Huff. Here's one of the younger, more promising players, maybe too aggressive for his own good. And yet there is no way to turn back. He can't call the whole thing off. He's gone too far.
Re-raise it.
Yeah, well, go ahead and yell. You and the dealer play head up. That's pretty cool. I guess I'll run it to full forward. I guess I'll run it to full forward. I ain't got you. He's got full forward. 6. What? 73 and a quarter.
There's 6, 60, 67, 73 and 1 quarter. 73, no, 73 and a quarter. 73.
This is where Puggy puts it on the line. The moment of truth.
Now, give me the problem. Deal. Oh, he catch a ball. That's right. He's up and over about that.
Full house, 8 full on.
The pair of 8s in the hole is Puggy's key to the full house. And it stands up against the wizard's 3-4s. A bad break might have wiped Puggy out. Instead, he has $31,000 now to play with. Outside, the bright lights dazzle the eye. The World Series of Poker is now 4.5 hours old, and the rate of attrition has brought at least 3 of the 13 players to the brink of elimination. The only amateur in the game is a pawnbroker out of New Orleans named Sherman Lanier. It seems only fitting, a sort of reaffirmation of a man's station in life, that the amateur should become the first to run out of chips. He was a 50-to-1 underdog. But even the champ can be licked by the turn of a card or 2.
What you got? I got that status, I can get one of them.
Deal, I can call ace. I wish that's the rest of this in there. Ace or queen.
Gentlemen, there's one way I can lose it. It can come heart. That's what it comes.
I didn't have
Heart.
I didn't have a heart in it.
That's right, a heart and a heart. That was a tough beat. 26-to-1 shot team against you, and that's Well, it's not too unusual. Occasionally the lamb slaughtered the butcher. That's just part of it. And if you won't play that hand, you won't play any hand. But like I said, no one gives up. No one but women and children give up. And I'm neither one of those. Well, enjoy it. Good chance. I'll be back. I know you will. Tomorrow, in fact. Tonight, if we get the game going. We may have a satellite tournament. Yeah. As soon as that one's over. Right.
Doyle Brunson, a one-time high school principal, is next to tap out. Now a respected gambler, Dolly Doyle is armed with a master's degree in education, but it's no help here. There's a break in the action. The scoreboard showing Puggy Pearson and Jack Strauss running 1-2 in a final field of 10. They'll all play at the same table now. Here's a rundown on the finalists. His name is Sailor Roberts, the house pro. Raised in Fort Worth, Texas, he now runs the card room at Binion's Horseshoe, a respected gambler. Roger Van Osdale, a gambler of the show me tradition of his native state of Missouri, and he's down to a few precious chips. There's not much left for the Wizard either. Bobby Huff, for 2 years a student at the University of Texas, and coincidentally, he never sat in on a game of Hold'em until he arrived on the Longhorn campus. At 33, he's still learning and is rated as an outstanding prospect. But in against the likes of Puggy Pearson, he's in over his head. One more pop at a big return, and for Bobby Huff, it's over and out. Puggy drowned him. Walter Clyde Puggy Pearson didn't have to go to high school or college to learn the finer points of poker. With a 6th grade education, he started out pitching pennies down in Nashville, Tennessee. Now he's pitching $500 chips like they're going out of style. Bobby Hooks from Dallas, Texas, is a veteran of the high-stakes circuit. A family man, Bob's always been popular with the poker crowd. Doesn't win too often. The old-time veteran Johnny Moss, winner of the championship for the first 2 years.
Well, I'm a Hold'em player. I start with the best hand, try to. Then you're a Hold'em player. You're going to get outdrawn a lot of times. My wife always says, why don't you ever outdraw anybody? Well, I start with the best hand. That's the reason. For big pots, big money, I got a good hand. And I usually got the best hand when I get my money in there, and I can't help it if I outdraw it. That's a good Hold'em player.
The youngest entry is 25-year-old Bobby Brazil, a handsome kid. A German-born orphan, he was adopted by an Army family and brought to this country. Bobby graduated Arizona State University and played minor league baseball. The veteran seemed to like his chances as a major league poker player, but he has a lot to learn. Jack Strauss.
I think that stamina is quite an important factor in long sessions of poker. I try to get my proper rest, and I went to the vitamin store yesterday. Got a big bunch of multiple vitamins. I don't know whether they're going to make me play any better or not, but they ought to make me feel a little better. And there's a tendency to become almost mesmerized after 20 or 30 hours, and you'll find your play falling into a pattern, and you want to try to get away from this.
The presence of Crandall Addington lends a lot of class and distinction to the rough and tumble of poker. Crandall is cool and unruffled, suave and elegant. Nobody wins or loses with such grace. Like so many others, Addington comes from Texas. He attacks poker as a science. He calls the game one of discipline and management. The San Antonio Stud says that anybody who lives by his wits should make it around a poker table. As a rule, Addington makes it. The only Easterner in the game is the dark and brooding Jimmy Casella. He was a gambler in New York before moving to Vegas 15 years ago. Casella's quick speech and nervous moments around the table bring a touch of big city life to the desert gaming rooms. Mrs. Casella, an anxious onlooker as her husband ties up in an important hand.
You got the best, but I'll tell you one thing.
Jesus, I got the best? You want to split the pot?
Turn one off real slow, Mr. Taylor. Get him there. Don't make it no spade.
Down here, let's straight.
You like to let play that, Sal?
The round belongs to Jimmy, better known as Fury, and Mrs. Casella acts as a head cheerleader in the gallery of press and public. But the elation was short-lived, however. Jimmy will soon be eliminated by a former champ, Johnny Moss. On the sidelines, Jack Binion is offering some moral support to victims Doyle Brunson, a very close friend, and Crandall Addington. As it turned out, Addington didn't lose everything.
Well, Crandall, Doyle, I tell you what, I know it isn't no laughing matter to get beat like that, but, whoo, couldn't handle it. But I guess it's better to bluff your checks off than to call them. You got that right. Well, what do you bluffed them off with an out anyway? Yeah, you really did. What do you think about the game so far? Who do you think you like, and from here on out? Who do I like? Well, who do you want? Who do you think will win? Let's say that. Well, I'm pulling for my two Texas buddies, Mr. Moss and Mr. Strauss. Oh, that's good. Well, they're two good ones, I'll tell you that. And of course, all I've got left out of that $10,000 changing game is a bet I won off the Greek right here, and I want you to take a look at this. Oh, yeah, he autographed it. Oh, yeah. I laid him 50 to 1 that I wouldn't loosen my tie before the game was over. Well, so I knocked him out of that dollar bill. I'm going to keep that and frame it, put it on my wall in the den at home.
It is now 3 o'clock in the morning, a respectable hour for all poker players to pick up their chips. They've been at it for more than 9 hours. The original field of 13 is now down to 6. Jack Strauss hangs on to a slim lead over Puggy Pearson. Strauss with 42,000 and change. The streets of downtown Vegas in the early morning hours. Traffic is virtually deserted. An eerie hush falls over a city that never, well, hardly ever sleeps. It's time for the pros to wander off into the night, to restore their frame of reference. Maybe poker isn't anything like a physical game, but the wear and tear of the grind chips away at a man's nerve center. It's 2 o'clock the following afternoon, and the green felt table is set for 6. Escalated antes and matching bets. Jack Binion lays out the ground rules.
Well, I know it. And that's who I'm kind of talking to. Is you agree?
Fine. As long as it's that way, let's go.
Well, which way is it? 5.
I'm not trying to bust you now. I guess you're trying to bust me. Go ahead.
And soon there were 5 for the money, the killer instinct in Puggy applying the knockout punch to the sailor.
Insurance. How much? I'll put 30. Put 30 in there.
30 to call me.
There's 30. Now how much more you got?
Oh, Sailor, please.
Please have a hand, Sam.
Please have a hand.
Please have a hand. You can't have one this big. Forget about it.
Please have a hand.
He got the 7, 8.
You can't have one this big. How much you got there?
7, 8 of spades, Pughead.
Yeah, I got 7, 8 of spades.
Don't leave.
How much is that?
Have a hand, Sailor.
You can't have one this big. It's impossible. Did I tell you it's impossible?
Hope you got 7, 8 of spades, Sailor.
That's all he can have.
He's got a set. He's got one.
26, 27, 50.
Put some black cards.
You ain't got none no bigger than him.
27, 50.
What he bet?
27, 50.
Have you got plenty of cards? Thank God. You don't have 5 and 6.
27, 50.
I predict it's going to be the 9 of spades.
Nettie, what do you got, baby? First strong?
Thank God. 9 of spades.
I wanted to be a spade first while Bill drawing back.
9 10 of spades, I think.
There we go.
No, it's 68. Wait a minute, that's where I wanted to come. What are you talking about?
Deuce of hearts. Deuce of hearts, dealer. Deuce of hearts. Hearts, Mr. Dealer. Deuce of hearts.
What's that? Did he make a noise? And I tell you.
Spade flush. Wait a minute, Slater.
Give me the pot. What the hell's wrong with you? Is that the money?
Has he got... He's got it full.
Over to him.
I didn't see your full, I'm sorry. Ace is full. He's got a full house.
Wait a minute.
You see it, gentlemen?
You probably noticed that false move by Sailor Roberts. Just for a moment, he thought his flush had held up. But the last drop of a card, a 5, filled Puggy's full house.
47.
So another contender bites the dust. Puggy's fourth victim, and Pearson takes the lead with 54 grand. It's an envious position to be in. And even the horseplay of the ex-champ comes as a welcome change of pace.
That'll be my chance to go eat. I'll stay another 20 minutes.
Amarillo Slim likes the game too much to walk away from it, even on the day after the night before. And Puggy is too far ahead not to go along with the gag. The cold bluff at table stakes. The mental gymnastics that go with it. That's what real poker is all about. Is he or isn't he? And when those great chips on the table go for 500 apiece, the bluffing's big.
What's the windy bid? Put all that mixed up in and put that in the pot.
14,400. And now it's Puggy's move to shove in a matching bet of 17 grand by Strauss. Call or drop out.
Damn, you must have eaten the whole time.
What the chemicals do to the missionary?
What the what?
Chemicals do to the missionary.
The missionaries? Oh, what do they do? Somebody tell me the answer to that riddle.
How much is busted camel?
I ain't got much of a hand on Christ almighty, I ought to be able to get a better call than that. Let's see that.
Are 2 pairs 9s and 8s worth it?
Give me 300, I'll show you.
You can buy a Rolls Royce for what it takes to win a pot. Puggy thinks, and he goes for the bundle, and he's right. Strauss was bluffing.
They're not going to steal my money, baby. All I can tell you, you better have some. You ain't going to take it. You ain't going to put your hand in my pocket. I ain't going to go for it.
I got the weakest hand in the world, man.
Well, if you don't call, I'll go down.
Well, if you got a big face, you got to be I got 2 little cards. 20 more?
In the ebb and flow of a grueling poker game, Bob Hooks looks like a drowning man over and over again. But he comes up for more. 11 times he shoves in all he's got, and 11 times he lives to tell about it. Rarely in these moments of crisis is Hooks called. This time he is, and he's still alive.
What are you clapping for?
There's more to winning at the World Series of Poker than good hands, good timing, and good betting at the crossroads. There's also good health. Puggy isn't sure he's got that going for him today. Overnight he came down with a virus. So there's a timeout for a queasy stomach. Anything to ease the stress and strain on the nervous system.
Well, I think one thing he hit it.
In this game, you don't cash in your chips if you can't play. You throw them in. The game must go on.
I put a foul more than 8 and 9. He caught Weinberg. I couldn't be moved.
The art of brickmanship, cliff hanging, as practiced by Bob Hooks, is finally lost. Hooks is hooked, and it's Johnny Moss who latches on to take Hooks out of the ballgame. A good battler, a crowd pleaser, Hooks walks off to a generous ovation, and we've got 4 live ones left.
There's the call.
Bobby Brazil's close to the best approach has kept him operative up to now. Credit the teachings of Johnny Moss. Here's a spot for young Bobby to shove it all in.
5,300 raise.
Jack Strauss goes after him, a chance to knock off a 4th hand. To set up a 1-on-2 situation can't be ignored.
Bob, get the card.
And call 5,300.
Puggy drops out. So does Johnny Moss.
Sorry, they all in. Don't make no difference. What's the hands? I don't win the pot.
Peggy the one that pot.
Think not. See what I...
Bobby's bravado stems from a pair of wired aces. Strauss went after him with the queen in the hole to match the 1 on the board.
Pair of aces.
He's got one of Gambler's.
Pair of queens. Aces win the hand.
He's got one of Gambler's.
Get the card.
Brazil is still in business.
Coming on $100, that's fine to go.
There's no way to read a poker player, a professional that is, by looking at his face. But watch his hands. See how he plays with a stack of chips, and maybe you've got a clue to the man's gut feeling. The tensions on the long-distance poker player need some release. The lifelong gambler finds it in these precision drills with the plastic cartwheels. These manual maneuverings are in many cases subconscious. Half the time, most players will tell you they don't even know they're performing these neat little tricks.
How many?
36. Huh? 3,600.
You got the best hand?
What?
Have you got the best hand? No.
15 hours into the tournament, and Bobby Brazil's time has come. You hang by a thread only so long. Sooner or later it snaps, and Puggy will do it once again. Puggy's winning hand here, a pair of jacks in the hole, and with Bobby Brazil's all in, he's all out. Victim number 5 in Puggy's reign of terror.
Baby cake.
couple hands very bad trying to trap a person, and I wound up getting trapped myself. But I'm not sorry. I learned a lot. It was really, really tough competition. Really are.
The $130,000 is the property of 3 men now, 3 who have been there before. Puggy has 90 grand, Strauss 22, Moss 18. But it's a roller coaster ride from here on in, and Puggy's a big favorite. A half hour has passed, and now it's Grandpa Johnny Moss with his back to the wall. Johnny, a strong believer in percentage play. It's made him a 2-time champ. He has all his chips working for him on the strength of 2 aces in the hole. Puggy looking for another kill with jacks and queens before the last card is turned. It's a 3rd ace for Johnny Moss, the kind of victory that builds up a bankroll like a dozen consecutive passes. The pot is worth 27 big ones, and Johnny's wife of 47 years is there to congratulate the winner. She's excited too.
Johnny. Hey, John.
You don't kiss me, though.
Look at the dealer. Okay. Remind you.
Raising 11,000. 15,000 a call.
Johnny Moss's momentum carries over into the last rites for Jack Strauss.
Call 11,000, re-raise it. What do you got there, Jack?
I'm just throwing.
Strauss goes for all he's got. And John Moss meets him with all the percentages in his favor. Johnny's pair of 8s in a hole give him 3 8s on 5 cards. Strauss has 2 hearts underneath. There are 2 on the board, and he's going for a flush.
What do you got, 3 4s? 3 8s.
Take some insurance here.
Despite the look of resignation by Strauss, Moss calls for insurance. It's a side bet against himself out of his pocket to cushion the possibility of a loss. Jackie Binion set the odds.
Well, that's what I'll lay. Not once you win it, then lose it. You can get 2 to 1 for me, Moss. And I don't. If it's not big, they can take a trip. Why, hell, it's 53. It's like 53,200. 53,000. Shot, man, he's got as many ways. He's got 3 6. He's got 7. I know. Turn over. I told you, goddamn, I know it's good. Ain't no foreign jacks. You get 2 to 1 out of me. Well, it wasn't no straight out. Well, that's straight. What if it caught it this? You gonna take a little here, John? Well, what are you gonna do, John? Deal, man. Oh, baby dog. Man, you got a lot. Baby dog.
The turn of the last 2 cards doesn't change the hand. Moss and his 3 8s stand up, and it's good for $56,000. He was glad to lose his insurance bet.
All right, everybody back away.
And now it's head-to-head. Puggy Pearson versus Johnny Moss for all the cash.
break. Take a break. Hey, don't get them checks mixed up.
The outside world, only a few yards removed from Benny Binion's card room. It doesn't stop spinning just because a World Poker Championship is on the line. A man's own assets come into play when it's all there in front of him. Every game of chance designed to bring out the gambling instincts of a free society. The horseshoe appeals to all strata, from the nickel slot players to the dollar blackjack enthusiasts, to those who are willing to pit their luck in the highest limit crap games the world over. There's no limit at any game as far as Benny Binion is concerned. If you've got the money, put it on the table. He'll take the bet.
Well, I feel like I'm going to beat Johnny. I've beat Johnny a lot of times, you know. We played many times, and my record against him is something like 19 out of 20. I mean, really big, you know, and I feel like I got a good chance of beating him. Johnny is not as aggressive. He's nowhere near as aggressive as me. I'll be on top of him all the time, and ducking in and out with him, you know, and I feel him out, you know, with the moving in and out, and I can kind of size him up when he's got a hand, and I get away from him, and he'll be drawing out against me. I'll tell you what he'll be doing if he beats me.
I got tails on a lot of professionals. I don't think they have tails on me, because they don't know when I'm going to move. And there's so many shortcuts in it they try to make them. Puggy's one, he'll try to make some, you know. But he's a good, aggressive player. He can win. But I think he'll outdraw the hand if he wins it. I've played a little longer than he has.
You might say with some degree of accuracy that Johnny Moss and Puggy have already put in a full day of work at the Greenfelt table. They've been at it for more than 8 hours. The time is now 11 o'clock in the evening. It's 2 for the seesaw. Johnny Moss, with that late surge, is now the affluent member. He has 70 grand to Puggy's 60. Puggy hits on a game plan. Younger and more aggressive, he plays for every hand, chipping away at Johnny Moss, who wants to pick his spots. The cagey veteran finally opens up after 90 minutes of backtracking, and here's how it looks.
Well, I got a raise. 32.50. You got me dead, John? Well, let's see. What's the yellow one, baby? Let's see the yellow.
Puggy with jacks and deuces on 6 cards. Moss with jacks and nothing else. But the last card wins it for Johnny. A 6 to go with his 6 in the hole for a higher 2 pair. Jacks and deuces against jacks and 6s. The game has tilted once again in favor of the old man. Moss has been making a habit of the 11th hour reprieves. As a spectator sport, poker watching doesn't rate with some of the great events of this century. But it has a fascination all its own. Even Benny Binion, an old homesteader out of Texas, brings out the family for a close-up look at the action. It's a proud moment for Benny and his business, the only family-run establishment in town. And take it from the Greek, it's well run. It's now 1:30 in the morning, and here's the one that turned it around for Puggy. $70,000 worth of chips are up for grabs.
Spades, John.
The 5 face cards are out there. 3 of them are spades.
Hey, that was my hand last year, kings and sixes, wasn't it?
No, you had 2 sixes. I had a king.
John, I don't believe you got spades. I don't believe you got spades, John. I believe you got something else. Might have trips. I don't believe you got spades.
The last card, a 6, gives Puggy 2 pairs, kings and sixes. He bets the whole roll.
Yeah, I don't believe you got spades, baby. I'm gonna let you bust me right here. Take it right down.
For Johnny Moss, it's not worth seeing. Moss is beginning to feel the strains of a possible defeat. After all, he is older. The end seems near. The crowd can see it coming. A crowd that's hung in there, hating to give up a ringside seat without a price. The fatigue of the game is even showing on their faces. At this point, Puggy is now a 5-to-1 favorite to take the title. Anybody who plays it to the hilt like Puggy, well, you gotta like him. It's the type of happening that draws out every drop of emotion, even from those who are just watching. For them, it's total involvement. Poker is an endurance contest, even for yours truly, Jimmy the Greek.
I'll take some insurance.
The end comes without warning. Johnny pushes in his last 40,000. He's got an open end straight to draw to. A 9 or an ace is what he needs. Puggy has one of those aces. A black spade in the hole, and that's all he's got.
Let's go, just deal. Let's go.
As it turns out, that's all he needs. The ace of spades, the victory sign for the title.
All those cards now. Hold the cards now. Hold the cards now. Got a possible just leave them out so we can get it. Ace high possible flush draw. First tournament I ever won. Queen 10 7 ace. Got a king high possible. Since I was 10, straight 40, 40, both drawing.
What are you going to do now?
Puggy has the and Johnny has got two. The first thing I'm going to do is give all these people who's got a piece of me their end.
With all the money, bring the money.
So Puggy has all the money. It took 19 hours and 9 minutes after it all began. 10,000 to buy in, 130,000 he takes out.
He didn't make his hand, but he still is.
It's the richest poker championship that Vegas has ever seen.
For a straight.
A dream come true for the colorful, cigar-chomping 45-year-old wheeler dealer. For Puggy, the money's fine, but the title, well, that's something else. Walter Clyde, Puggy Wuggy Pearson. He is now the poker champion of the world. And believe me, he is the champion. Nobody's close to him.
Well, I just kind of...
You want Johnny back again?
From the paper boys.
Johnny Moss.
Johnny? The pool room. With the gamblers. I learned to play with the gamblers.
I can't stand it. Sell him a what?
He buzzed George. Move your hat back a little bit, son.
Okay, how big?
You got a cigar?
I can't get no break. Wait a minute.
Anything
for the press?
I'm going to be for victory. That's it. Beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful.
Throw a few rolls out the crowd.
How long? I ain't gonna try. I'm gonna trust Jack here. I told you glory is worth more than money, didn't I tell you that?
What's worth more than money?
Glory. Glory.
Right so hard to win.
in here, sir.
What was that again, buddy?
I was telling him the glory was worth more than money.
Puggy, any worlds left to conquer? You're going to go to play the great poker champions of the Orient or Antarctica?
Listen, the great poker champions, listen, I'll play Chinese checkers with some of them if they want to play. I'll try to match up with them. Whatever they want to play, I'll play it.
But they told me, Puggy, they said you weren't a great Hold'em player up until tonight.
Up until this year, up until 6 months ago, I didn't know nothing about it. I didn't know I was lost playing Hold'em, but I analyzed it. Yes, I was. I analyzed it, and I found out. I really looked into it, and I think I play Hold'em pretty good.